story. I hadn't heard Andy tell that, but I remember that day. It was about the hottest day of the summer, and I remember dancing with his kids because, hey, look, we are feisty Democrats, and we don't mind being in the middle of tough fights, and sometimes in the toughest fight, you know, you can really show the very, very best. Brian is that way too. He's the head of the House caucus in Richmond right now, outnumbered, you know, very tough setup, but they do great work down there. I say they're outnumbered, but their IQ is higher. They do great stuff. And look, it's really nice to be with you. And I tell you, the danger of this is I've done 3 political events today, and this is my last one. So I don't have to hurry my speech to get to another one. So I'm just gonna
we're with you. We're with you.
I want to talk a little bit about Andy, but I'm going to save that for the second. And I'm going to start with where Brian was about sort of Northern Virginia, and really Virginia getting bluer. And then come to Andy and Andy's race and why it's so important. It really is, as a state, we're in a tremendous time of ferment right now. Just a little history. When Mark Warner ran for governor in 2001, there have been 14 statewide races since Doug Wilder was elected governor in 1989, and only one Democrat had got more than 50% of the vote in 14 races. And so nationally, folks were really writing Virginia off. They were saying the trend is just going against us. They were talking about this long cycle of Republican majority, and the Republicans were really cocky. They came out of the census. They had control of the governor's office. Both houses redistricted, so they gerrymandered every seat, including your district. Yep. And they were really cocky about it. When Warner and I won in 01, it kind of shocked them and stunned them. But they had this feeling of, well, Mark Warner outspent Mark Early 2-1. When's the next Democrat's going to be able to do that? So they didn't like losing, but they kind of felt like, well, it was an aberration. It wasn't going to happen. We started to win special elections, which Democrats hadn't for a long time. Brian and others, special elections, we lost a bunch in the 90s. You started to win some. They still really didn't wake up. We got into the 05 cycle, and the Republicans really felt for a very, very long time that their candidate, Jerry Kilgore, was just invincible. You know, there was usually ahead by double digits or more in the poll for the whole 3 or 4 years that I was lieutenant governor. Even 2 or 3 months before, we were still in many polls down double digits. But we won, and we won for 3 reasons. And some of you have heard me say this at least once today already. I'm going to dwell on it a little more. 1, because I worked my tail off. I mean, for 5 years, 1 year as lieutenant governor, and then 4 running for governor, I did nothing else other than be really focused on the governor's race. So I did work hard. More importantly, I had a great group of supporters, and so many of you in this room, helped me. We're at the rallies, we're on the phone banks, we're putting up the signs. I had a super staff, wonderful people, and that was really important. But the main reason that we won is we just figured out a little bit ahead of some others that Virginia is really trending a very positive direction for Democrats.